Welcome back to another episode of the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. I am your host this week, Jim Root. That's right, folks. I'm back. I took a little week off, took a little sabbatical, but I'm here. I'm joined by Kai McEwen and Matthew Cox, both members of the Three Man Weave. We are full strength. And fellas, we're full strength because summer's over. We're getting into preseason. We're getting close to preview season. I think we're about a week or two out from the mid-major extravaganza and getting into all kinds of previews. But fellas, it's good to be back with you. I had a week off before that too, because all of us took a week off. We didn't have a pod. So I'm anxious to get back into it. Kai, I heard you guys get razzed last week in the chat for too many ads. So we got to fly through the intro. I think that's something we got to do.
Yes, our intro took too long. Matt and I were really plugging the Discord hard because we get paid for it. So we really want to make money. And that's why we wax poetically. Also, we like it. We believe in it, Jim. So yeah, we won't spend too much time on that. I'm glad to be here with you fellas and excited to talk basketball.
Yeah, this is my best episode of the year. Bold predictions. There's not much in life I do well, but but based on this is sort of like if you win the lottery, you can say I'm really good at playing the lottery because the sample size is like less than 5, or in that case, probably 1. So it's sort of how I hearken my pride in bold predictions, Jim. I have 3 today. Excited to share them with you and the masses, and just share fellowship with both of you. Most importantly, of course.
Real quick, Matt, scale of 1 to 10, how bold are they?
I'd say 9.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Love that.
I'd say 9.
I would say as we go through the bold predictions, again, this for people listening, not again, I haven't said it yet. The episode is bold predictions. We took these from Twitter. We took these from the burner. Join the burner. We won't do a super long ad on it, but join there. We like to interact with fans there. That's where we get some of these. This is a lot of bold predictions / hot takes. That's where we're going to evaluate them. I called it takedown or breakdown, boys. We're either going to take them down or we're going to break them down. Either agree or disagree, give a little bit of a take on them. And as Matt said, yeah, 9 on the hot take scale. I love that.
It might be like a 6 or 7. 9's too hot.
Wow, what a quick back off.
I know. I looked down, I was like, no, these aren't that bold. Because nothing's bold anymore, right? Like everything feels so uncertain, so like it sort of dilutes the boldness of anything. So on a relative scale, maybe that's my I don't know. I mean, that makes sense.
To quote you, Matthew, we gonna find out.
We gonna find out. We gonna learn today.
Yeah. So we are also going to get through a quick episode or a segment of Roots Roundup. We're going to talk recruiting after these boys absolutely crapped on that last week.
Yeah,
so
sorry, Jim.
It's not the lifeblood of this podcast. It's the lifeblood of programs. It is not the lifeblood of this presentation, Jim.
We summarize them.
We hate Youngs.
If we get feedback, people don't want it. I will happily skip over it. But it does seem like, Kai, it is a big draw in the college basketball world.
Yeah, sure.
I would say people would rather land a 5-star recruit than make the Sweet 16. So that's why we at least mention recruiting, because it is a win. People like to win the offseason rather than the season.
It's hope. People love hope, Jim. That's what it represents.
Love hope. Yep. Folks, a little bit of self-promotion before we get into the episode. Shout out to Jay Pitty, the promoter, the composer of our opening tunes. I just came from hanging out with Joey Paskov. We were at the Cubs game. So, folks, if I had a couple beers today, apologies. It's a fact that did happen.
Jim, why didn't you tell me? I would at least had a pre-show beer. Beer.
That's why we made Jim host. We want him to host drunk, which is funny to us.
I'm just mad that he didn't tell us, because I would have joined him with a courtesy support beer. A support beer, if you will.
Don't like Kai saying drunk. I am not drunk. I have had some beers. That is my honesty to the listeners. So maybe I'll get a little looser with the hot takes. That's
He's under the legal limit for podcasting, which is a much higher threshold than driving, even, which some people say is backwards, but it is. It's a high threshold. Jim's under that, and so we're all good. We're very clear. We're in the clear.
Yeah. God, I hope
no sanctions. No sanctions from this recording.
Okay. Shout out Joe for the opening tunes. That's all we care about. Subscribe to the pod on iTunes, SoundCloud, Amazon, Spotify, wherever the heck you get your podcasts. We are out there. We should be there. If we're not, let us know. Holler at us. Leave a review if you so choose. Kai, no reviews because you guys did hammer them last week. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to shout out that I am sad that I missed a Mikey Pot Pie review. Mm-hmm. That is the best name in our review circle. And that made me sad, but great review. Thank you for leaving it. We appreciate that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are live right now on YouTube. So if you want to watch and evaluate whether Kai is right or whether I am right, am I drunk or did I have a couple beers while watching the Cubs game today at Wrigley, day ball game? You get to choose. That's up to you. So subscribe there. You'll find that out. And of course, get in on the Burner Ball, the Discord, Trilly Donovan's Discord, also ours. I feel like you guys kind of repossessed it last episode. You said it was our,
Yeah, I
thing.
know.
I want to frame it as such. Yes, we're
I
partners.
like that.
Partners. Minority partners, but partners.
But right now we are driving content numbers. We are big time previews. We are counting down the top 50 right now. We just released number 19, St. John's today. And we do have some big time AMAs coming up. Tom Crean, ever heard of him? Matthew.
Yeah, this is huge. Big one.
Jim, Tommy Crean brought me some of my finest post-adolescent memories at Indiana University. So yes, I do. Fondly,
I like that
Tommy Crean.
you revised 19 and 20 as post-adolescent. That's big time.
Yeah, well, I was a boy genius, so I was going to graduate a few years early. But no, I did bleed into my early 20s there. And Tommy Crean just brought those to new heights. So thank you, Tommy, and the great esteemed IU team of 2013.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. We just had Alabama assistant Ryan Pannone. Matthew conducted that via audio, so you can tune into that. The file will be available. If you join the Discord, all of these historical ones are available to you. So join in. You can get the old ones, you can get the new ones. We have Tom Crean coming up. We have Bradley head coach Brian Wardle coming up. Folks, he's an awesome coach. He brought Bradley to the NCAA tournament multiple years in a row. He's been through the Missouri Valley rigors. That's going to be fantastic. And Kai, we have our first player AMA conducted by you. Well, not conducted, but you orchestrated it in the background. Eric Reynolds of St. Joe's, a top 60 player per our top 100 rankings. Probably the preseason A10 player of the year, unless Robbie Avila unseats him. But he's good. This isn't some guy we just found. Like, Eric Reynolds is an awesome, awesome player, and we're excited to pick his brain.
We are indeed. I'm excited for that. Details to come. Yes.
Yes. Jim, you said you guys did a little too much marketing last week, so now you belabored it this week. All right, that's my apologies. Let's get into Roots Roundup. Before we get into it, Matthew, we are sponsored by CBB Analytics, one of the best college basketball websites out there. Super helpful as we do our previews. I'll let you give a quick summary before we get into the news.
Yes, it's awesome. It's got everything you're going to want in terms of advanced stats for college hoop. Talked about it ad nauseum. If you're a member of the Discord, you're seeing us share snippets of all the cool visuals you can create. I've mentioned before the shot charts, past teams, past players by year, by situation, splits versus home versus away, good teams versus bad teams. It really is kind of like a wholly deluxe version of KenPom, and with new features as well, Kai. I have not actually had a chance to go through them in detail yet. But some very interesting team DNA types of things that he's added, continues to add going forward. If you want to join, and you should, just go yourself. We're not going to do it for you, but go there and use the promo code WEAVE, WEAVE, for a $40 off subscription. That helps you. It helps us. And the, kind of cycle of beneficial juju goes round and round. So yeah, thank you to CBB Analytics and coaches out there, as there are many of you starting to kind of wade into our waters. A lot of those AMAs, by the way, in the Discord, very coach-centered, I think, if you're an aspiring coach. Along those same veins, if you're an aspiring coach, the pro tier has everything behind the scenes that Nick's data lake has. Just reach out to us, and we can set that up directly and go from there. So,
well said, Matthew. Well said. Kai, do you have an alibi for last night?
Yes.
August 21st, 2024.
Yes.
Do you?
I was getting my ass kicked in a basketball game. One of the worst performances of my team's career. I was not around Rick Pitino's office when it was robbed. I think we scored 12 points in the second half. We were much better than this team we played, and we lost. And it was very embarrassing. It was hard, Jim. Very, very hard. So, yes, I wasn't around his office.
Yes, you have people that will vouch for you.
Yes.
And I ask to the listeners, because Rick Pitino's office was robbed at St. John's. Matthew, in New York, it was kind of crazy for us as we released St. John's, the number 19 team in our top 50 countdown today in the Discord. And on that day, we get this crazy news about memorabilia being stolen from Rick Pitino's office. Matt, do you have an alibi?
No, my lawyers actually instructed me to not say anything at this time, Jim. So I don't know. I think we talked behind the scenes. It's probably behoove us to all sort of arm ourselves with proper representation, just given the highly, highly unusual coincidence of this occurrence and our release of his team's preview today. The motive, I would say, is, it's hard to pin that on us, but certainly we need to probably, brace ourselves for some interrogations coming up, some depositions.
So I think the motive's obvious. Opportunity is tough. None of us were in New York, but motive was very clear. Oh, stir the pot for our preview.
How much money was taken, or how much value consideration was taken in this?
That I do not know. I
Wink, wink.
I
If
can't
we did
answer
it, we
that.
would know, but we'd be saying that to
Have you, real quick side tangent, have either of you watched Broadchurch?
No.
Yes, I think.
Hi, yes.
Hmm.
At least
Maybe.
my wife
Okay.
has. I can't remember if I watched it with her. We've watched so many shows.
Okay, great show. It's about solving a murder in small town England,
Mhm.
and their big approach is to eliminate suspects first.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, I don't think any of us can be eliminated in
No.
the Rick Pitino robbery.
We're in the
So
first filter. Yeah, we
perhaps
did this
Three Man
first.
Weave was in the office there. We'll find out. But we'll move into recruiting because I know these guys are dying to talk about it. First of all, 2024, this year, Creighton just got a commitment from Euro stud Fedor Zugic. Commitment, I think everybody kind of knew he was coming. There's been some behind the scenes like amateurism sort of stuff that they've been trying to solve because Kai, he is 20. He's been playing professionally over there, and they're just trying to figure out the eligibility, all of that. But he is a lights out shooter. There are some guys that are good shooters. He is a movement shooter.
Mhm.
And that is kind of a big difference as you go into the Creighton offense. You were impressed by what you saw from him.
Yeah, 1 minute Kai tape eye test. This guy can play. We are skeptical about European prospects in general. This guy impressed me. His shot is going to translate for sure. Bassini had a tweet. So he's played 192 professional games over the last 4 years, which seems a little bit not fair. I know it's hard to translate European basketball and high school basketball, but this guy's good. And he's 20. He's not like an 18-year-old, 17-year-old prospect. He's 20. So I think he will have an impact for Creighton. It's a big get for them.
Ethan Rogge 2.0.
Oh,
No.
well, he's not the same build, but I
You
just
will
want
lean
to
it, right?
immediately
Yeah.
answer Illinois fans. Kai Tomislav Ivicic is also 21. So yes, some of these older incoming freshman Euro recruits, maybe they're more mature and ready to contribute. So perhaps Zugic and Ivicic will answer that bell. In the class of 2025, all right, we won't dwell on this, but I do want to mention 4-star center Malachi Moreno is headed to Kentucky. Top 25 recruit here, like top 30, maybe fringe 5-star, depending where you look. Matt, were we worried about Mark Pope recruiting to Kentucky? Do we think that was going to be done without John Calipari? Do we think this would continue to last?
No, coaches don't have to recruit him. They just recruit money, and then that money was what recruits players. And you put yourself in front of an awesome program, and you happen to be an awesome cool dude like Mark Pope, who's 6'10", so probably has a very intimidating and, alluring presence of sorts. Yeah, no, we're not surprised. Mark Pope's the man. Top 5 coach, as told by us to you on this podcast 3 years ago.
As told by you.
As told by me.
Yes.
Do you have a pen? Can you write a check? You can recruit here.
Exactly.
Well
So I can't recruit.
Florida and Marquette got top 100 recruits. Florida, 4-star small forward CJ Ingram. Marquette, 4-star combo guard Adrian Stevens. I think especially both worth mentioning because those two programs like to develop internally. I know Florida likes to bring in transfers too, but especially Marquette, develop internally, bring in those guys, play them as their juniors and seniors, let them develop. Very much worth noting there. Quick other random news and notes, guys. No injuries. We love that. No transfer news. Candid coaches. Just a quick check-in. You guys mentioned last week that Cooper Flagg was brought up as the #1 player in college basketball, despite being 17 and having never played a game. Shout out to 12-foot rim. Let's get him a name on the podcast. If you're in the Discord, you know what that means. But the question this week on the Candid Coaches at CBS, shout out to Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander, which schools have the best NIL in college basketball, which I think everyone's pretty interested as we are getting into that phase of the sport. So Kai, every person who answered was asked to include 3 schools. Arkansas was named on the most ballots, 73.7%, the only school over 50. So far and away, the most named school out of all of these. Tyson Chicken pays for some players.
Tyson, Walmart, 2 pretty big alumni bases there, Jim.
Yes, absolutely. Kansas also way up there, 43%, number 2. Matthew, BYU, 31%, coming in at number 3. There are rumors about how much money they're offering AJ DeBonsa, the big time upcoming recruit, future #1 pick, probably. Igor Demin got paid a bunch, or Demon, the Russian coming in. So they have been talked about as paying a bunch.
Hey,
Others mentioned multiple times. Okay, go ahead.
I said the Mormon Church. Yeah. Super rich. Who knew?
I'm old enough to remember when Jabari Parker was, I think, part of the BYU was in his final 5 or 3.
He is a Mormon, I believe.
Mormon, I believe, yes. So fit.
Well, I hope that every other Mormon basketball player has better knees than Jabari Parker as a Milwaukee Buck fan, and that has bummed me out till no end. Other teams mentioned, not a lot of surprises here. Kentucky, Indiana, Baylor, Louisville, Alabama, Illinois. Kai, a couple in the Big 12, Kansas State, Texas Tech. I did not expect to see those names. We know that Coleman Hawkins got $2 million from Kansas State, so that adds up a little bit.
That really bothers me. But yeah, go ahead.
Kai, how much do you think you deserve? You should maybe take a 1% cut of that.
No, don't get bitter.
I deserve
right?
none of that.
What are the idiots
it's kind of just, man, I mean, gosh, I wasn't a D1 player, obviously, but man, if I was a D1 player in the mid 2000s or before, and I saw a guy like Coleman Hawkins getting $2 million, I'd be throwing up is what I would do, Jim. I know it's not about that, but holy cow.
I think Robbie Hummel has said some things about like, God, what I wish I could have gotten. Well, being in college for 6 years, that just like ups your price. So
yeah,
shout out to
being really good at the college level without like crazy pro upside. That right? Yeah, that's tough.
Yep.
Not to pile on, he's a good player. I'm just saying, $2 million is absolutely insane for a college player. Ridiculous. Not even all American.
Others mentioned multiple times. No surprise here. Duke, UConn, UNC, Tennessee, Memphis. Hey, FedEx, they can pay. Texas, Ohio State, St. John's. Like, there's no. Honestly, Kansas State and Texas Tech are the two that just kind of raised eyebrows for me.
Yeah, maybe St. John's, but I think people kind of know they have. What's their one donor? The
Rick Pitino from his salary.
He is. It's like a famous. I don't know. Some people are yelling at them. Yeah, but they have like one pretty massive donor. I think that kind of levels the playing field relative to the big SEC pocketbooks.
Jim, you got to wonder if Paige Kroenke, Paige Walton never cheated on her test at USC, and Mizzou Arena was still named Paige Arena. You would think Mizzou would be on this list.
I gotta think you're close. I think Mizzou's got you guys got pretty good NIL from what we're hearing, Kai, what our sources in the Discord are telling us. So
I was gonna embarrassingly hand up that I did not know that story, Kai. So
yes,
perhaps all the people can call me out as a fake Mizzou fan. I did not realize that.
Yeah, she's part of the Walmart family. She cheated on a test, so they took her name off the arena.
Oof. Well, okay. Good thing we got Tony Perkins and Mark Mitchell. Fire up. Let's go, Tigers. Okay.
Good haul.
The other two bits of news before we get into the hot takes. We have brackets out for the two biggest MTEs coming up in the non-conference, not the Players Era Festival, which kind of sucks because it's not a bracket. It's just 3 games, teams playing each other. But Maddie, Atlantis and Maui, 2 massive ones here. We're going to start with the Atlantis bracket. I'm going to read you the matchups real quick, and I think you might have a take or two on the.
I've already picked my winner.
Good. Okay. The quarterfinals start of it. Indiana versus Louisville. Oh, that'll generate some clicks. Gonzaga versus West Virginia. Providence versus Oklahoma, and Arizona versus Davidson. Matt, you are an IU grad, but you are the biggest Louisville fan of this offseason.
I know.
Are you going to melt down on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in that game?
Yeah, it's unfortunate they screwed both teams here, Jim. The committee, the Atlantis committee, they put the 2 best
I'll tell
teams
you about
in this.
Screwed in Maui. I'll tell you about that.
Gonzaga's going to win this thing. But yeah, the Indiana Louisville game is going to be an absolute barn burner. The Davidson is just such a. Oh yeah, Davidson was once a cool inclusion here, but now it just doesn't feel like.
Kai.
It could be really good, but I mean, in this crop of schools, I do like. However, I like that there are some mid majors still jockeying their way in these tournaments, which I think will eventually sort of fizzle out. Like at some point, I think the money
because you only have 5 power conferences, so you gotta fill a slot somehow. Kai, Tommy Lloyd, Mark Few, potential final.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That's gonna be awesome. Arizona Gonzaga early season game. Sign me up, Jim. Sign me up.
Give me a possession guess. How many in that game?
Ooh, 78.
Get hyped, people. Get hyped in that ballroom down in Nassau. That would be incredible. We also got Maui, like I said, Memphis versus UConn, and Colorado versus Michigan State. And on the other side, my God, is this stacked? Auburn versus Iowa State, two top 10 Bart Torvik teams, and then Dayton versus UNC. Fellas, Kai, I'll direct this to you. I think Tom Izzo got a nod here. Why is Michigan State getting the worst team in the bracket? Sorry, Colorado, but I think we have a stacked side here for UConn, the obviously two-time defending champ. But I couldn't believe that was a quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, Auburn and Iowa State too was ridiculous.
Right, one of those teams on the losing side.
Those two are top 10 teams in the country probably this season.
Insane.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's not like you couldn't just plan around this. Like, I don't know who does the bracket here. Who does it? Is it basketball people or is it just random event planners?
I have a friend formerly at the Maui Invitational, and I asked him or her, and he or she would not give me any details. So it's very secretive, is what I can tell.
I mean, that's just bonkers. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Also, if UConn wins this tournament, I'm just gonna be like, it'll be one of the all-time most impressive things.
And
like,
they go 3-0 against the spread.
Like dominate. Like, oh, it's UConn. Like, oh, come on. They will be a very, I think, despised villain if they are awesome again this year, just out of sheer jealousy and envy, for no other reason than that. And maybe the Dan Hurley people probably don't have a bad whatever, but still.
If you're a UConn fan, you want to be despised because it just means you're incredible. So enjoy that, embrace it. Folks, that is it for the Roots Roundup. We are going to get now into the heart of the episode. That is hot takes. Like I said, breakdown or takedown. We're going to go through some of the opinions that were expressed in our burner Discord, also a couple on Twitter. Matt might add some of his own. Kai maybe has some mixed in here. I might have a couple if we have time, but we tend to be long-winded when I'm in the episode. Hand up, that's my fault. So we're going to get through these. We will start with Pat. He was the first to respond, Kai. So we're going to start off here. His hot take was Indiana finishes outside the Ken Palm top 30. Crazy or okay?
I don't think it's very hot, and I think it's very realistic that they finish outside the top 30, despite their roster being very, very good, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Pat here. I like where he's going with the sentiment here, trying to pick out a very popular fan base with a very against the grain take. However, he should have been bolder. Top 40. I mean, they're 30th right now in Bard. I bet they're actually not even crazy high in KenPom because guess what? Mike Woodson hasn't been very good. But I think we agree they probably should clearly be a top 15 team just based on talent alone. But alas, we shall see.
Yeah, they were 91st last year in KenPom. So get a little hotter, Pat. Take a dip. Get in the oven, get in the air fryer, warm yourself up. I will transition from there to one of Marshall's take. One of Arkansas or Indiana misses the big dance entirely. Matthew, this is a little more scorching with Indiana. Of course, there's a caveat here that could also be Arkansas with John Calipari. But outside the top 30 is one thing. Missing the big dance entirely is fireable, right? And do you think it's possible?
It would be a bigger Armageddon nuclear bomb if Indiana missed the tournament because I think it's Cal's first year. However, people would not be like, oh, no big deal, Cal. Well, you'll get him next year, big guy. Don't worry about it. I love this premise though because both I think really real downsides. You could argue. Betting favorite Kai that they both make it clearly right. The question is like how heavily favored would you be parlaying the two to make the dance? I guess I'm trying to think. This is bold. Is it super bold?
I think there's like
pretty bold.
I think there's like a 2% chance Arkansas misses the
tournament. Okay.
This team is basically Kentucky. Right. It is it would be shocking to see them miss it. Indiana, I have less faith in just because Mike Woodson, but their roster is like a top 15 roster in the country. It'd be surprising as well if they missed.
I think it's like a 5% chance either one misses it. So 10%. Yeah. This is a bold take. I love it. I'm in for it. Here, love it.
So Kai, you say more likely is Indiana misses?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I agree. I think they have a bigger downside if they just implode all the guys that are just obsessed with the amount of money they got paid. Not that Arkansas guys didn't get paid a lot, but I think it just has a little bit of a weirder fit roster-wise. Pat had one other take that I think is bolder. Eric Musselman and USC finish at the bottom of the Big Ten. And lest I remind you, there are 18 teams in the Big Ten, Kai. Is USC going to plummet that far per Pat?
I don't think so. I like the take, though. It's possible because we've talked about USC just a little bit. They are a sort of mid-major all-star team and very good mid-majors for sure. And a couple power guys sprinkled in there. But, they're not overwhelming in the talent perspective compared to the rest of the Big Ten. The Big Ten is super flat this year. A lot of teams could finish in a lot of places. So I don't hate it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't hate the boldness of it.
There is no take too hot for Big Ten this year. It kind of was like, as I thought about one of my hot takes, I'll share at the end, which is Big Ten related. Spoiler. I was like, man, this take feels hot, but it's like, no, it doesn't. Anything can happen. Big Ten, you could say Penn State wins by 3 games. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Mike Rhodes figures it out. You're like,
Okay, that's a little.
that might be a reach, but the point still stands. I mean, it's as flat as it's ever been. It's going to be the argument with this year will be how high is the ceiling of like the top 5 or 8 teams, which is sort of the tug of war of every discussion with the Big Ten the last 3 years. Maybe we're underselling how many fringe elite teams there are. I don't know, but I think it's anyone can win this league. Yeah.
This would stun me. I think he's got a lot of multi-positional guys that fit his system. But I want to build on this, Matt, because we had multiple people, Illini231 in the Discord and Mr. Dennis on Twitter, both like I think very unrelated people. Like I don't think they know each other. Both said Wisconsin bottoms out and finishes in last in the Big Ten. I think a lot of people have looked at this roster. They see no Chucky Hepburn. They see no AJ Storr. They see no Tyler Wall. Is Greg Gard good enough to elevate this team out of the bottom? I will just give you a quick setup. I think the floor is kind of high for Wisconsin. Stephen
Yes,
Crowell's
it's
a nice
Wisconsin.
base.
Thank you. Yes.
But if their floor is 70th, there's a chance 70th is like 16th in the 18-team Big Ten. So I don't hate this. I don't think it is crazy.
Jim, that was my point with Illinois because I think I have them like close to the like middle-ish to bottom, and it's like it's just so flat.
You are an Illinois villain. People hate you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I've embraced it. I'm not scared of Illinois. But like even when Wisconsin's bad, they're never that bad. I know this roster looks bleak, but like man, like people were making fun of that 2018 team like a ton. Like people were like throwing tomatoes like it was a Rutgers under Eddie Jordan type team. Like it just Wisconsin's floor is just so high. So stable. I just don't see a complete cratering from Wisconsin. Maybe the Big Ten's just that good in totality that like everyone rises above and Wisconsin falls to like 75th, and that's actually the worst team. It's just unlikely that in an 18-team league that the worst team is 75th overall or something. Like someone's going to probably bottom out for a number of stupid reasons.
Yeah, even in that season, Matt, they still finished 9th in the 13-team Big Ten. That was their worst year. So I think their floor is pretty high. However, I think it's a higher chance in USC finishing in the basement because the roster is not great. But their style, the system that's baked in, I think, is enough to keep the ship afloat.
John Blackwell season.
Yeah, their lowest finish in Ken Palm in the last 20 years is 70th. And maybe it's shifting because of Ken Palm, because of the portal and the guys they brought in are not like significant needle movers unless Tanjay is really healthy. But I just think the defense will be okay enough. They'll steal some at home. It would surprise me if they finish last. But hey, talent. I would say talent level is bottom 4 in the Big Ten. Do we agree on that?
I think I agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that.
Yep. Matt, bottom 1?
No.
Okay.
There's a stinkier talent-wise team.
Okay.
All slightly stinkier.
In the Big 12, we got a couple from Kyle B, who is a very he's got a lot of opinions based on his model. So it's good to get stuff from him. Kai. He says BYU gets a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, and this is hot because they've only gotten one in their entire school history and involved Jimmer Fredette. Even last year, they got a 6 seed when they were kind of rolling through the non-conference. Is this just too far?
I think it's too far. I don't think there's any chance that this happens.
I'm saying 0. I'm with you.
In my opinion, BYU is not close to where it was last year, and last year they still were 18th in the country and a 6 seed, like you said. So a good team could make the tournament for sure. Kevin Young could be a star. Maybe he's a stud head coach. Maybe Demon, their Euro guy, ends up being really, really good. I still don't think they're going to get a top 4 seed.
They play at Providence, and then that's pretty much all they really tested in the non-con.
It's a huge game. Huh.
Yeah, going kind of west to east there, early December. Every other game in the non-con's like kind of winnable, and then it goes into Big 12 play where we saw every team in the Big 12 just beats up on each other, so it's hard to really rack up a gaudy schedule that kind of nudge you into the top 4. I feel like you have to finish at least a few games above 500 in your league, even in a brutal league, to get like a top 4 seed. That's why I worry about BYU. It's like I feel like there's going to be some Jekyll and Hyde moments throughout the year, but I like the upside bet though. I'm going to co-sign that one as at least that's bold. Do I agree? I don't know, but it's bold.
It's super bold. Like I said, I think Kai, I'm going with you. I think 0. The things that made them special
5%.
last year, hard to guard, were We have a 250 three-point attempt guy in Jackson Robinson that you have to worry about. We have the best passing big in the entire country in Ali Khalifa, like 33% assist rate. And we have a four-man that can shoot the lights out, Noah Waterman. And like none of that is here anymore. I think they're
Maybe
generic as a team now.
Mark Pope's a
maybe
good
Mark
coach.
Pope's
He's a good coach.
Yes.
maybe Kevin Young's awesome. Pope's actually not that good, and the players that stayed from Pope are awesome, and Young makes it even better. And the guys he brought in goes to a whole nother level. And we look back and we make fun of Pope if Kentucky goes 15-15 this year. That's a bold prediction, folks. That's the boldest take.
You think Pope's got a track record though?
Oh yeah, trust me. You will not hear me say a bad thing about Mark Pope.
Let me wheel you one right back, Matthew, from Kyle. Bonus: SEC finishes number 1 for conference average mean per KenPom, which has been not really where they've been at. They've usually had a bottom, and now they've added Texas and Oklahoma, which maybe raises the middle of it. But Big 12 has kind of lived in this zone. Big 12 has added a little bit of flotsam at the bottom, I'll say. Is this bold enough, Matthew, and do you agree?
It's deceptively bold because you're right. Like they've fourth last year, fourth the year before. And I feel like you think of the SEC as like, I don't know, like a top 2 or 3 league, but I mean, the other 4 leagues are awesome too. So yeah, it's deceptively bold, which is weird. I feel like you want your bold take to be like flamboyantly bold, like like boisterously bold. But I do think this is an interesting premise because I think the SEC is going to be awesome. And I think has a higher median or floor that sort of makes it look better by the numbers.
Yeah. The Big 12 adding those teams makes it possible, but Big 12 is number 1 until I see otherwise. I'm just looking back. The last 11 years, it's been 1 9 times and 2 twice. So it's just, and it could have 3, 4 top 10 teams this season. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm worried about how top heavy the Big 12 is, but I'm going to side with him. I'm going to take it with him here. I said 0 on BYU. I'm going to say I'm with you. I'm siding with Kyle on this one.
It does pass my bold meter sniff test. It does. So congratulations.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like Kai said, yeah, it's not, they haven't really been that close, and Big 12 has been so dominant, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to run with it with what they added. Bonus 2 real quick, guys. Braden Smith, first team All-American. Zach Edey gone, running it through. Braden Smith at Purdue. Kai, yes, no, crazy?
I'd lean no, but I think it's really possible. And I'm glad people are finally coming around on Braden Smith after giving him so much shit 2 years ago. Guy's a really good player. Now people agree. Funny how it works, Matt.
Yeah, I said on our last podcast, which I kind of thought about after I said it, Kai, I was like, that was a dumb take. Like I said that he could average 10 assists a game because like he'll have more of the ball, but like he'll have the same of the ball he had last year. He just had Zach Edey was a cheat code assist guy. So it's hard to see him actually like going up in assist. Will he score a lot more? I don't know. I feel like it's not really his game. He's more of like a pick your spots type guy. But yeah, Purdue, I think Purdue has to really, like top 3 Big Ten, top 4 national seed, which it's Purdue. They can always do that. Those younger guys get better. He's sort of like just the quasi face of the team. I guess I buy it. It's bold for sure. It's bold.
It's definitely bold. As Kevin Sweeney said in the Discord today, they really shifted their offense to be a little more pick and roll, let Edey roll into post up. It wasn't just like, hey, go stand on the block and figure it out. It was a lot more let Braden Smith create out of pick and roll. But I think without him, we're gonna see a little bit of trend down in his efficiency, his productivity. So I'm out. I can't handle that one. To Illini 2-3-1's takes, fellas, one I think I'm gonna jump on board with. Notre Dame finishes top 6 in the ACC. I don't think I have them rated there, but the ACC is volatile. And Matt, I love Shrewsbury. I love how like they were young last year, so there's a lot of upside with them. And I think Matt Alaco is a perfect add in the same way that Ryan Langborg was a perfect add from Princeton to a high academic school at Northwestern last year. I'm in here.
I love the take. It's not bold enough for me. I think he should have gone top 3, top 4, maybe.
Well, let me link you to another take from JK. Single digit seed in the NCAA tournament. Is that bold enough?
That feels bolder, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it does. Like Notre Dame as an 8 or 7 next year, that would probably surprise most people and us, I think, too.
It would surprise me, Matthew. I think this is a very bold take. Shrewsbury didn't even finish in top 6 in the Big Ten at Penn State with that really good team. I love Shrewsbury. I don't think he has the talent still, but he will overperform his KenPom rank, which will probably be around 90 or 100, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this team was 13-20 last year, and they were 120th in KenPom. I mean, it's not like they're like
right.
on the.
They weren't that.
They were kind of bad last year.
They weren't that good.
No, they were like fun
But they
and
what people
plucky and feisty.
people
But
thought
like,
they would legitimately win like one game in the ACC, and they won 7, and they finished above 3 teams. So it was a good
yeah.
coaching job by
And people
Shrewsbury.
said the talent, people made fun of that talent at nauseum. Everyone's like,
I
oh
did.
my
It was
God, you have a
bad.
3-star freshman, you have your son. It's like nepotism, and you have like, no one cares about basketball. Yeah. So it was clearly like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is
Matt,
not Bowl because Shrewsbury that good.
right before New Year's, they got blown out by Citadel. They barely beat Marist, and they were 223rd in Ken Palm.
Yeah, they
And
bottomed out.
through the ACC, they leveled up 100 spots. I think that's indicative of the rise. I'm going to side with this. I think Notre Dame gets into the tournament. Single digits a bit of a stretch, but top 6 ACC, I'll take it. I'm in.
Yeah. In my preview, I wrote about what if they lost that game to Marist after losing by 18 at home to Citadel, after losing to Georgetown, and then getting
Which
blown out by
Shrewsbury
Marquette.
quit. He was so
Like,
mad.
I feel like this South trajectory could have like torpedoed the entire momentum of the Shrewsbury campaign, even though it was that early. Like, that was just such a horrid start.
All right, to our guy Barry Buckets here, Kai, Kansas State related. Doug McDaniel, first or second team All Big 12. We know what Jerome Tang can do with a speedy point guard. Do you agree or disagree?
Could happen, but I'll say no. I'll say no. There's a lot of good players in Big 12. Big 12 is insane. They have to expand these teams because all these conferences do with how many teams are in here. But I'll go no, Jim.
Yeah, if you want to league with a 10-team first team like
Yeah,
the WCC, maybe the
SEC
Big
too, I
12
think,
is when
right?
you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, deceptively bold. Deceptively bold. DeJuan Harris is still playing basketball. Taman Lipsey is still playing basketball. Dallin Hall, BYU is awesome.
Crier.
Crier.
Every Houston person.
But he will put up stats because
blinking.
that's Tang's design last
Yes,
couple of years. K-State
Precisely.
that point guard is going to get ball screens like crazy, and he's going to put up stats. So it could happen. Sure. Will K-State be good enough? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm convinced that they will be. I'm sort of arrived at the K-State's going to nice little ball club this year.
Matt, don't surrender. You have been very bold in the Discord, and I think you've been beaten down for your bold takes. I want you to not surrender.
No, I'm not going to surrender. I'll surrender when I feel I am outmanned and outgunned. But when it comes to Illinois and some of my other just razor sharp takes, I know I have the edge. I got the nuts there on that one. K-State, I think I've been snapped in half to cave. So
okay, I've surrendered to every international prospect. They're all first team all conference, and whatever league they're in, they're all amazing. Every one of them.
I hope they're awesome. I really do.
The other Barry take, I think this might have been just trolling, sarcastic, but Dane Danger wins AAC Player of the Year. Matt, you wrote Memphis. Is he going to be productive per minute enough to stack this up?
I don't know, man. I just remember those awesome Dane Danger dancing bear moments in Illinois. They were loud moments. His impact is loud, Jim. It's probably over embellished because of how loud his impact is when
he's all conference if he plays 20 minutes a game.
I think he's really good though. I'm with Kai. I think Dane Danger is sort of like underrated now. As weird as that sounds.
By most people.
Yeah. Right? I think so.
I think Player of the Year. I don't even have like this is the Player of the Year instead, but I think PJ Haggerty will be better on his own team.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a hater here. But again, I don't even know if he was serious with that take. Make him say no says Michigan, Louisville, and Kentucky will all miss the NCAA tournament. This is not an or, folks. This is Michigan, Louisville, and Kentucky. I think Michigan and Louisville are kind of on the fringe to some people. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the weave's a little bit higher. If you've seen our countdown, Kentucky pretty safely nestled in the field. Kai, this is hot, and is it too hot?
Yeah, I don't see this happening. Although I could see Michigan and Louisville both missing it. Sure. I don't think it'll happen, but I think it's a decent chance. Kentucky, I would put it almost no chance they miss the tournament. I think they're really good this year.
Wow. I think Kentucky has the largest chance to miss the tournament of those three. Really? It's a great premise. I love the premise. Bold, and I think not entirely out of possibility and worth discussing.
Do you think Louisville's roster is better than Kentucky?
I think it's like neck and neck. Yeah, I do.
But do you think
Can I frame it this way?
Pope is a better coach than Kelsey?
You said really Pope's a top 5 coach on this episode.
How is it that close? Yeah. Pope's done a lot more than Kelsey, and I love Kelsey.
We're not going. I mean, I think it's a little more. It's a little more projection based. I'm sort of taking the. I'm not saying that Pope's resume is close to. I mean, obviously Pope's resume is probably better, right?
Yes.
Matt, is this UK roster better than Pope's BYU roster last year?
See, that's I don't think it's like that much better.
But is it better?
He
finished 18th in Ken Palm and got a 6 seed. If you think it's at all better, It's insane
Yeah,
to say he'll miss the tournament.
that's fine. That's fine. No, it's obviously insane. I just think that of the odds of the teams here, it's probably because I like Michigan a lot and I like Louisville a lot. So to me, like on a relative comparison, in this little three tripod group, I think Kentucky actually has the lowest floor. Kentucky's gonna make the tournament, guys. This is all a moot conversation. I don't want this to be a Kentucky comes to Matt's doorstep with jagged arrows and spears and pitchforks and fire. Like I think you're gonna be in there. You'll be dancing most likely. Big Blue Nation. You're fine.
I think
Don't worry about
Louisville's
it.
floor is super low. Like that's my concern. Is
I
their
don't
floor
see
is
that.
very low.
I can see why you see that. I just don't see that.
All right.
My order would be.
I watched too much Bahama stream. I watched way too much of that action. Way too much.
Yeah.
Such a terrible idea.
Louisville is going to murder bad teams. They're going to murder them.
Yeah.
Next up from MDog 43, 4 and maybe 5. Let's call it 5. Let's say the bold prediction is 5 Big 12 teams finish in the top 10 of Ken Pom. I'm kind of on board here. I think Iowa State, Houston, Kansas look great for it. And it depends on how much you buy Baylor and Arizona. Kai, I'll take it. I'm in with this.
Yeah. What was the question? I kind of tuned out there.
4 let's just say 5 Big 12 teams finish top 10 in Ken Pom.
No, not 5, but I think 4
That's
can
a
get
lot,
there.
yeah. Half the top 10.
Yeah.
As I said that the SEC would have a higher average, and now I'm agreeing. I feel like I'm punching holes in my own argument.
So I think Houston's a lock. I think Houston's a stone cold lock for top 10. I think Iowa State will probably get there. I think Kansas will probably get there. And then you have 2 really good shots at Arizona and Baylor. So I think those are your candidates. Maybe Texas Tech on the fringe, but those 5 are really good candidates.
The red.
Yeah, you could argue K-State could get there too. I mean, that's a long shot, but
so converted. Matt's so converted.
He's joking.
That's an upside team. K-State's an upside team. That's an upside team for sure.
Top 10.
Yeah, probably not.
How good was the Keontae Johnson team?
Hey, their 5 man's worth more than your 5 man. So take that.
Well, they paid him more.
Well, he's
Take
like
that
playing
to the bank,
3
baby.
for them too. Also, okay, Matt,
Whatever,
we're gonna
yeah,
spin the
that's
other
stupid.
one on you from Barry. From MDog 43. Grand Canyon, Elite 8. Neither of you voted them top 50. I was the only one to do it of us. Is that too far for you?
No, it's not. Bryce Drew, good basketball coach, talent's insane. It does feel like I would almost wish they didn't get to the tournament last year and they were flying under the radar more this season. I don't like that they're like so. It feels like the spotlight is just too bright this season. Yeah, I think they're gonna be awesome though.
As we pointed out, I think JAF Findler pointed out too in the Discord, they've maxed out, in my opinion. I don't think they can get much better than what they were last year. It's like they're 50th. That's very good. I don't think they're getting to 20 or 25.
Here's what's funny is that Drew told me before the year that like not to expect too much of Tyler Grant Foster. Like that was he very clearly said that like
Last year?
ease him back in. Yeah, like October was like, oh really? Okay. Which
Believe
like makes total
coaches.
sense. The guy's coming back and played in the year and he just comes out just like I mean, you saw him play against Alabama. I mean, he just stepped back, crossing people up, dunking on people, firing 35 footers. Maybe he's awesome.
I'm with Kai. I'm with JF in the Discord. I think they're a little maxed out. I think Jacoby Coles is not raising the ceiling. He left TCU to get more touches. I don't think that helps Grand Canyon. I think that's a bad way of stirring the pot there. All right, from SRG 577, the Mountain West will get at least 3 teams in the tourney again. I had a little hot take that I think the A10 finally gets back there for the first time since I think 2018. Matt, they had 6 teams last year. The Mountain West did. A lot of attrition in the rosters this year. Is 3 teams, literally half of what they got last year. Is that too far or is that okay?
I think it's a great number. I feel like there's going to be some bias going into March with the Mountain West narratives that were spewed last year, which could hurt them. I do think the league's a little better at the top than it's getting credit for, despite the pretty substantial carnage that a lot of those rosters took. I like it. It's bold, and I kind of agree with it. I would bet on this.
I don't think it's that bold. That's my opinion.
It's not bold.
Okay.
I think 3 or 4 teams. I just finished writing the Mountain West. I think San Diego State, Boise State, Nevada, and New Mexico are really good candidates to make the tournament. I think some other teams can make it too.
Yeah, the dissolution of the Pac-12 is what makes this not that bold for me. 3 from 6. I can't get too hyped about it. I think he did caveat it with from the perception and the feedback they're getting. And look, they have one in our top 50, and San Diego State was 50th.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why he was saying it. So I think he's probably right with 3. From Mormon Mark, The Big East only gets 3 bids again. Folks, I think this is one of the hottest takes that we got here.
Yeah.
Last year they got 3, and this year coming in, you've got St. John's, Xavier, way, way better than they were last year, or arguably way, way better. UConn, Marquette, Creighton's still up there. Providence fans think they are a top 12 team in the entire country. Maybe they are. Maybe they are.
They're not.
My whole point is it's crazy to say 3 again, right?
It's nuts. I mean, I keep saying there's 0% chances happening, which is what hot takes are all about. There's 0% chances it's happening. Marquette, UConn, Creighton are locks. I think St. John's is a lock too. So there's 4 right there. Xavier's a lock as well. 5 teams at least.
Yeah, there's 5. Well, I agree. That's what I was like. I had 5 teams like that team's making the tournament this year. And given how like much they were scarred by the Seton Hall NIT run, UConn being dominant, and all the crap that was said after UConn was awesome, and the snubs, I think that's going to matter. I would bet strongly against this. I love the boldness. I love it. I think 4's bolder and more likely.
I think
help? Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
I think the Big East is better than last year, and the only reason they got 3 last year is because there were 5 bid stealers, and I don't think that's happening again.
True, and I'm saying, and it might be helpful. UConn's not quite as dominant. They're not like. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if they go.
Beat UConn. The bubble teams can beat UConn.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they go 18-2 again, for instance, in the Big East. I bet they lose at least 4 games, which is good for the league because you get wins over UConn.
It sucks that Georgetown and DePaul were so bad that those wins were just absolute zeros, absolute zeros on your resume.
You played like 8 games that mattered all year. You're like, well, we can't beat UConn, and of course we're going to beat Georgetown and DePaul. So
that too,
like the high stakes, So that's a good point. A couple bonus ones from him, real quick. Kobe Brea leads Kentucky in scoring. Low usage transfer from Dayton. Kai, I think that's a little wild, personally.
No chance.
Okay, all right.
He's a spot up shooter. He's a really good spot up shooter. That's what
I think he's a little. I think he's a little more than that. I think he's got a little more wiggle to him from what I've seen. The old Matty eye test.
Will he show the wiggle? Will he show the wiggle?
I kind of think he will. I actually love this take because my whole take on Kentucky was like, I don't really like their backcourt, but I like Kobe Brea a lot.
Is Kobe Brea better than Jackson Robinson, who is in the system for the second year or third year?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is Robinson's good, but I think they're both going to be dope. He was those like kind of wings, shooter, flamethrowers off the ball.
7th highest used player on Dayton. There's no way he's going to get enough usage to do that. And he's not shooting 50% from 3 this year. Again, he's not.
Yeah. Kai, well said. Well said. Matt, Sparty wins the Big Ten tournament. Tom Izzo with a bunch of internal development with Xavier Booker, Jeremy Fears, Cohen Carr, Frankie Fiddler looked okay abroad, but they did lose a game across the pond against a professional team. Can this happen?
Yes, because they're going to be like 500 going into the tournament, and they're going to win the Big Ten tournament. That's why. So it's only possible under the circumstance that they just kind of like, trance through the entire regular season, basically.
I dig this. I dig this take. I like Michigan State
too.
this year. I'm buying them.
Appropriately bold. I think I said Fears averages 6.5 assists per game.
Yeah,
which only 12 guys did last year. So that's
pretty bold.
Sparta related big take. All right, very quick. Zip 'em up's got about 7 bold takes here, guys. So we're gonna be quick through these. Kai Milos Uzan makes a Big 12, an all Big 12 all conference team.
Too many good teams, but I think it's a good take. He could, for sure.
I think no, they have too many good players.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, too many good players, but I think he has a great renaissance of a season because that system just I think I could play point guard and be a decent defender and get people the ball in the right spots.
He's a proper fit. He's a proper fit in that.
Yes.
In that system. Purdue wins the Big Ten regular season and tourney again. No.
I know I disagree with Michigan State, but I think Purdue's top 10 this year. So yes, that would be my picks for both.
I can't get there.
I'm quacking. I'll quack with the Ducks. I think Rutgers got upside. I just think the Big Ten's too crazy zany for someone to win both. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
Purdue could win one or the other. McNeese loses in the Southland tourney for a team that is absolutely loaded with insane talent. It's a one and done kind of thing, Kai. So this isn't that crazy.
Again, I think Matt and I talked about it. SFA could do it. I think they're going to be. I mean, I have not even looked at that team, and I guarantee they're going to be good this season. But McNeese could finish like 100 spots higher than the next highest team in Ken Palm. So that's bold.
It's at their venue. If it wasn't, I might be like, ooh, random neutral site. Weird stuff happens. Threes don't fall. It's like it's at their venue. I just don't see them losing. They're too good.
I'm going to take it because there's a lot of teams that really stacked up. I don't know if they just found NIL money, but a bunch of teams in this league got good rosters. Yeah, Corpus Christi, Incarnate Word, Nichols have all got pretty decent talent. And then you add SFA. I think there's a decent chance. So I'll buy this. And I think people will be bummed. They'll be like 25-4, 25-5, and they're like, you got to put him in. Sadly.
Higher chance
Oh.
Grand Canyon or McNeese gets upset in the tournament. Their conference tournament.
I'm gonna say McNeese. I think the Southland's a little deeper than
It's a good premise, Kyle. Very good premise.
Great premise.
Close. I think people think that's obviously great. I think it's very close though. The gap between both and their competitors.
Indiana State goes from top 40 in KenPom to sub 300 in KenPom. They are 195th in Bart Torvik right now. Kai Matthew Groves has a little bit of history. It's not awesome at South Alabama. I don't mind this.
Yeah, it's a fair take. I have not written them yet, but over 200 would not surprise me.
Ooh, I think Graves is going to be a pretty solid coach. I don't think they're going to suck. They will struggle, but they won't suck.
Okay.
I like the
300
boldness,
is too
though.
far. Like Valpo was number 300 last year. They're not Valpo.
Yeah, Valpo was bad too.
Yeah. You'd have to be really bad to get down that far. Matt, does Toledo finally break through and win the MAC tournament?
Yes,
they are
this is the year.
Okay.
Every year.
What's the difference?
Every year's
Real
the
quick.
year.
Nothing. I always say
Two
it's the year. And one of
sentences.
these one of these times I'll be right, and then people won't forget like the last 5 years I said that, and then like, wow, nice call by that Matt Cox kid. He must really know ball, and they won't look at the receipts. So yeah, I just think I'm going to take the bet on the odds. And the league itself is still a little bit. It's starting to kind of come back, but it's still it hasn't gotten back to like the 2019 era, if you want to call it that way. They had like every guard was awesome.
Have they won the league 3 years in a row? Yeah.
Yes,
4 years in a row.
Yeah.
I thought it was just three. Am I
And
wrong?
it's not even like a
But yeah,
postseason
it's
model that I
4
think
straight.
is like unsustainable. Like they don't play like how could you ever win a tournament? Like it's just sometimes the shots don't fall. It's
Boy.
tough.
That's crazy. 4 years in a row. Wow.
Oh, it is four. It's right. Yep. Thank you.
I'll get on board. Rocket ships to the tourney. Ty Kowalczyk deserves it. Nebraska makes tourney, fellas. I don't think this is hot enough, so I don't.
Not hot, but I'm selling it. I don't think they will.
Love it. I think it's highly possible. I might even bet
It's
on this
possible.
actually.
Oh, I think
Go
it's
Skur.
probably 40-60.
Oh yeah, sorry. This is not that bold and a good premise, and I agree with the take.
Yeah, this is a good board bet instead of a hot take. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Good
I
board
agree.
bet.
Belongs on last week's app. Miami top 3 in the ACC regular season. Okay, hot but not scalding. I kind of buy it. They've got upside.
They could get there. I probably have them top 6 or top 5 in the ACC. So I'd buy it.
I think
Yeah.
I buy it too.
Matt doesn't care. Matt's
I'm
preoccupied.
thinking.
They were last in the ACC last year. That's pretty funny.
It's
my
dead
God.
last.
Dead last.
Yeah. Injuries are bad if you only have 7 good players, and they have a little more depth this year. So I think they're less prone to cratering. But top 3 is you need everyone to stay healthy. And that hasn't really happened for them. Illini 2-1. Georgetown, the worst Power 5 team per KenPom. Boy, I think Florida State and Boston College are going to suck real bad. So I'm going to go with them. But Kai, I know you don't think this roster is good.
I kind of buy it. Their roster.
I love the take.
This roster
This is-
sucks.
This is bold and it's kind of like plausible in my opinion. I love this. This like, for both the lineup, I love this take. This is the best premise on the board. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like proper odds if you want to make me a price out there. Counter Georgetown fan, but I love the premise.
I don't understand what Georgetown fans are seeing in the roster, and everybody else. Like I've seen other people say Georgetown over Villanova, Georgetown 9 or 8. This doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Here's what I think I read somebody,
well,
Kai,
are you?
say they got one of the best scorers in the portal in Malik Mack. They got one of the best
Pass.
athletes in the portal in Curtis Williams, which pass.
Pass.
They got one of the best defenders in the portal in Micah Peavy, which I also kind of
Pass.
pass on. So I don't know. Yeah, you have
There's been a little too much Louisville. All the Louisville players that went to new places, a little bit too much. Weird situation. That player's going to be good here. It's like I don't know. They can't all have that same
No.
tagline. Like maybe they weren't that good. Maybe they actually were really bad.
You remember what happened when L. Ellis left Louisville and Arkansas sucked? Like,
Yeah,
and
no,
he was the best
mattered
player
for
on that
2
team?
seconds. Right.
Let's not get carried away with that. So yeah, I think Georgetown has terrible guard defenders and no rim protection, and that is a horrendous recipe. So I can see this happening. From Mr. Big South, we're gonna fly through these as well. High Point will be in the at-large conversation, but does not win the Big South tournament. Matt, this feels, I would say the first part's hot. The second part's not because of just tournaments and how they operate, but they are super talented. Can they get to the at-large combo?
Bold, yes. Don't agree with the premise. Disagree.
My question is, what's their schedule? It was horrible last year. If they play a similar schedule, there's no chance they can get an at-large.
And they're stuck in the no one wants to play us.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like everybody knows they're good. They have a bunch of NIL for a mid-major. Like we have depth charts in the burner, and Demorian Williams is currently listed as their third string shooting guard. He's averaged 15 points per game in this league before for Gardner Webb. And he was at Texas Tech, and now he's coming back. And is he going to get buried at High Point? That team is uber talented. I think talent wise they can get there, but I'm with Kai. I don't think the schedule is going to be enough for him. Big South beats 2 Power 5 teams. He says Boston College and Utah are his proposals. Give me a little epitome of brutality, Kai. Why not?
Yeah, sure. Again, I need to see a schedule. I guess he knows the schedules probably, and yeah, those are 2 pretty acceptable teams. High Point had a chance last year. They lost to Georgia at Georgia. It could happen.
It got close.
Could happen. Yes.
I'm in on this, Matt.
I'll take them against the spread for sure.
Yeah, there we go. Northern Colorado is a top 2 team in the state of Colorado, Matthew. This is a Raz on Colorado and Colorado State. Can Steve Smiley and the gang get there?
I like Steve Smiley, and I like his dudes. I like this. I agree with this. I haven't looked closely at the Big Sky yet. I concede. I'm sorry, but I did do some roster glancing over the weekend, and I was like, oh, okay. Despite losing St. Thomas and Dalton Connect the year before, Smiley continues to kind of have a pretty good roster.
No chance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm sorry, I was on mute for a second. No, I'm with you, Kai. That's wild. I don't think Colorado's going to be that bad. I think people are like looking at the roster, tanking them. Tad Boyle is okay, and the mid-major guy or the D2, D3 guys are better than you think.
Yeah, in Northern Colorado, man, they're not even finishing top 150. You got to at least do that if you're going to be number 2 in Colorado, the state of Colorado.
They might not be the best Northern in the Big Sky.
Yeah,
Northern Arizona brings back everybody.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Not there yet. Really's back, baby.
Not there yet.
Yeah. 2 teams get their first ever NCAA tournament bid. Now, I'm not going to list to you everybody that hasn't been in there, but his guesses are UMass Lowell and Quinnipiac. I was surprised that those were his guesses because a team that has not been there, I think, is the most likely is High Point. So I don't mind this take, but Kai, Vermont's winning the America East. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, we say it every year. It's Vermont's league until it isn't. So that's UMass Lowell could get there. I'm surprised Quinnipiac hasn't made the tournament. Yeah, I'll take the 2. I'll take 2. Yeah, High Point and someone else. Sure.
Yeah, I did the UMass Lowell thing. Like, oh, this is the year, guys. I'm gonna call it, and they lost to Vermont by 4 games in the conference. Like, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, Vermont until they show up to games with, I don't know, without
until John Becker's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they return a bunch. It's not like it's some total rebuild. Matt, your boy, Io Filet, the incredible defender. So he's back.
Io, that's right.
Yep. Ilero Filet. I think I'm getting the name wrong. One of the original 3 never made the tourney teams goes to its conference's title game. Army, the Citadel, or William and Mary. The Citadel has no chance. I'm just going to say that. The, Army got Jalen Rucker back, who's like their stud player from 2 years ago. He sat out last year. Don't hate it, and the Patriot stinks. And then William and Mary, Brian Earl, our guy from Cornell. Perhaps he engineers a turnaround. Dane Fisher kind of buried that program.
Yeah, I'm going William and Mary just because I'm Mr. Earl. Roster is just whatever.
Is this bold enough?
Yeah, it's bold for sure. Yeah. It's very bold, and a very good premise as well. I did hear that Army apparently has, or Navy has the hardest standards now because some Army and I think Air Force are taking grad transfer shim. So Navy of all the armed forces programs is actually a relative disadvantage. They're trying to equal it out. I'm not sure how they're doing that, but I didn't hear that.
They haven't taken any yet.
Yes, correct. Yes.
You're grad transferring to the military? Goodness.
Or allowing a 5th year. I'm not sure what the specifics were. I should read the details closer. But Navy, I think, is officially like they're the most stringent of those military schools in terms of admissions, just because of that grad year.
He also said Tarleton announces leaving the WAC at the end of the year before 25-26. That's fine. Tarleton, I can't track. I can't clock Billy Gillespie and all those guys.
Their football program is on a skyrocket. Like they'll probably be in FBS like a couple years.
See, this is why you bring on FCS fucking degenerates like Kai and Matt who know they are dialed in.
I think they're well funded. They have money.
Texas, oil, ton of interest in the program.
Mhm.
The stadium is like 10x the basketball stadium. There's what the basketball stadium is like 4,000 people. Basically, it's like a high school bleacher gym, and their football stadium is like a cathedral relative to the other FCS schools. So yeah, maybe they'll just kind of ride the rising tide lifts all boats theory, I guess.
All right. Illini 2024 also has a decent collection here. You get a yes or no in one sentence. Matthew, since he loses in the first round of the NCAA tournament, I
Nope,
say
farther,
yes.
way
Okay.
farther,
It could happen.
way farther.
I'll shed a tear because I love this team, but it could happen. Hey, it'd be great if they make the tournament.
They need it. Wes Miller needs it.
It's a good. It's good. I like them. It is both.
Tom Izzo and Bill Self both retire. That's too bold for me. Bill Self's rolling right now. He's got all kinds of money.
Yeah, I don't see either of them doing it.
Tom Izzo too stubborn. Matthew.
I think Izzo does hang it up.
Okay. Matt, Ben Hummerkaus, first team All Big Ten. The humidifier.
No,
I like it. I've been told by their fans that he's like their fifth best player. So I guess I have to side with one of their other
all of a
studs
sudden,
that all of a sudden, yeah, miraculously. I love the Hummer though. Man, I love this guy like 2 years ago. It's a bummer that I feel like now it's not cool, not in vogue
It's
to
in the
like
Big
him.
Ten now. It's different.
Yeah.
I hate that I loved him in Evansville, and then I was like, whoa, pump your brakes, Illinois fans. He's not going to be that great. And then we ranked him top 100, and now we're on the wrong side again. It's ridiculous. Like, we can't get the Hummer cows correct with the fans here. I think
will
he's a great
say
player. He's not first team All Big Ten.
every Valley coach was like, that guy is awesome. That guy
He is
awesome.
awesome.
So I'm going to believe it.
My compound sentence, I said I gotta have one sentence. KJ is way more likely to make first team, comma, and you're crazy if you think Hummerkaus is going to play the booty ball thing. That is so far from what he is.
Not his game. He's not Marcus
Damask had that game. That's not what.
Yeah,
he is.
they'll do
don't
different
expect
stuff. I assume Underwood always does different stuff, which is why he's great.
it. Matt, you're just going to say yes to this, or that's not bold enough. Xavier Elite Eight.
Yes, not that bold. Likely, probable.
It's not that bold.
Yeah, not crazy. I don't mind it. BYU misses Turney, and their coach Kevin Young goes to the Chicago Bulls. Now this I like. This is spicy. I'm going to take it, Matt. I know he's really high regarded in NBA circles.
Love that we have a BYU top 4 bold take and a BYU no tourney, and then coach leaves after season. Very options. Both are bold. I agree with the former more than the latter.
Kai, the entire Big Ten is within 3 games, top to bottom. We know there's a lot of parity, but man, it's gonna be hard for it to happen, right? You think it'll spread out a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible for this to happen. I think someone's bottoming out. Minnesota probably at the bottom. Penn State's the bottom. Yeah, I don't think it's happening, but I do think we're going to see like the Big Ten a couple years ago, where like teams 12 through 1 are like neck and neck. You got a lot of ties and 1-game differences, that sort of thing.
Kai, you're on the spot. You don't get to think about it. The number 1 team in the Big Ten and the number 18 team in the Big Ten are within 70 spots in Ken Palm. Yes or no?
70 spots, no.
Okay.
No.
Someone in the Big Ten's outside of top 100.
Someone bottoms all the way out. Okay, fair. I think that's probably right. He also said Duke wins the title. The Final Four is Houston, Kansas, Gonzaga. Matt, I'm just going to carry over to the other side of the hot take from Louisville. Duke is out in the second weekend, Sweet 16, Elite Eight. I'm going to say this isn't hot because it's really hard to get past that.
Yeah, it is. A lot can go wrong. Not that. Yeah, it's actually not that hot. It feels very hot. I wouldn't be all that surprised if it happened. Honestly, I think that would like probably shake the.
If Duke went on the first weekend, what would you do?
Round 1 or round 2? I think like they're
Either.
caught in a barn burner round 2, like just a dog fight with 4 minutes to go in the round of 32 against like I don't know, Providence or something. Just can't make a shot. Hopkins is dominating flag.
Is Shire's seat melting if they don't make the Sweet 16? I kind of think
It's heating up.
Trouble.
Turn the burner on.
Yeah. The burner.
I just think his players are so good. Like what?
I would love this Final Four. That'd be cool.
That'd be fantastic. I would live in San Antonio.
Matt might stick around for the championship game.
Yeah.
Oh, nah. Only if FAU reincarnates their team and comes back.
Duke
That's what
Gonzaga.
I'm saying.
From Jay Fogues, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I know you're a Cincy fan, so I'll at least give you that. Texas A&M protected seed 1 through 4. Matt, you love Texas A&M. I think this is wild.
Oh, I think they could be top 4 seed for sure. Buzz already has a top 4 seed in 8. Actually, he has a few top 4 seeds on his resume.
Ceiling's not high enough with the same core. Kai, your thoughts?
I think I could get a 4 seed, but that's as high as I'll go.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
possible,
All right.
says I.
Andre Emmett Stan, big Texas Tech guy. Darian Williams, first team All Big 12. I think I'm okay with it, but I think JT Toppin's better, Kai. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
sell that. I think they're too balanced.
All right, Matt. Now we're gonna get scorching from the same guy. Rutgers finishes top 15, and he revised it to top 10 in KenPom and goes to the Elite Eight. Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, can they get there?
Yeah, I think they can. Is it that hot? Like, I feel like the talent feels like
That's
this should
scorching.
be.
That is scintillating. That is
Yeah, it is
volcanic.
just because it's Rutgers. If you remove the
Yeah.
Rutgers name from the plaque, I think you might look at the roster and say, "Oh yeah, top 20, top 15, yeah, for sure." But it is still Rutgers.
No way, Jim. No way.
Yeah, I love Rutgers, but I think these two things in concert is what scares me. Like maybe they make the Elite Eight, maybe they have a great season and finish top 15 or top 10, but doing both, even if they're top 10, like there's just so many landmines trying to get to the tournament. I can't quite get there, but I love it. I would be ecstatic if they did because I ranked them very highly. Buckyball, Florida wins the SEC, Matthew. Todd Golden,
like
the Gators.
bold and probable enough for me to be
More than
entertained by
Bama,
this.
more than Auburn. You're okay with this?
There's a lot of good teams in the SEC, but Florida's, I think, close to that top crop, if not in it.
Okay, you think they're close enough, Matt or Kai?
Close enough.
Nope, they're not as good as last year. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, and Tennessee, I think, is really good again. The defense is going to be top 5.
Yeah, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama could all be top 10 this season. And Arkansas and Kentucky are still there. It's a really good league.
Yeah, hey, if it happens, I will tip my cap. From JK, these are the last from the Discord. Houston is not top 5 in KenPom. They have been that for 4 straight years. Kai, I can't get on board here.
Nope, there'll be 1 or 2. And I'm pretty confident, barring big injury, they're 1 or 2 this year in KenPom.
Yeah, it's again another deceptively bold take where it's like this shouldn't be that bold, but given how awesome
bold.
they've been, and it's a super bold take. Like they're not going to be insanely
4
awesome.
starters
Like,
from number 2. Yeah, I know Shed was super valuable, but man, yeah, they've never been number 1. 3 straight years finishing number 2 though. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Kelvin
that is
Sampson's
wild.
got that going. Arkansas outside the top 30. This kind of harkens back to the Indiana conversation, Kai. I don't think this is scorching.
No,
but I think it's possible.
Very possible. Yeah, not scorching at all. No. I would take the under. I think they're top 30, but could see it.
Matt, I need to ask you, Northwestern better than Indiana in KenPom. What would happen in Bloomington if that came to fruition?
I hope nothing catastrophic. It's a great town, fine people. I hope they keep their sanity, at least for the off season when we hire an awesome coach. I love this theoretical as Northwestern is being completely forgotten about because Boo Booey no longer resides there. But that team could be sneaky good in Indiana, as we've discussed ad nauseum. We all don't worry about the floor. I think Indiana is very clearly better this season, though. I don't think this is even a question.
I think Northwestern is getting way too hyped. I think it's ridiculous.
What? I don't think they're getting any hype, are they?
The Discord today was nuts about
Discord's high on
Northwestern.
them.
Okay.
This is they're capped, man. Like, there's no way they're better than last year. There's no way they're better.
Boo Booey is the best player in program history by like a margin, like categorically. He was in the 99th percentile of on-off rating last year, and I know he wasn't off the court that much. But I just, there's no way they don't take it.
Shots fired at John Sherna and Brian McIntosh, Jim, 2 of the greats to put on a
someone
purple and white.
did say that, and I was like,
Bowie
yeah,
is better than
I
them.
think they're probably right. I think he probably is the best player in the.
He is the best player.
Yeah,
he's their leading scorer, and he took him to 2 tournaments.
Is he their leading scorer? Wow.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I was like,
Sherna,
Sherna and McIntosh may be more accomplished, and maybe he's not, but Bowie's their best player. Whatever I think Bowie's probably most accomplished and their best player, but Bowie was for sure their best player. He's just Northwestern never had a player like that.
Never forget that Boo Booey won a National Defensive Player of the Year, so he's got that going.
That's insane.
He won it last year.
It's insane.
It was
which
so
is like
dumb.
That's
he was so surprised.
Ridiculous award. Are you kidding me?
It's so.
It's still the fact that he won it shows you he was like in the elite defender conversation, which speaks to how awesome he was.
No, he wasn't. No, not even Northwestern fans thought he was. He was a above average defender. That's it.
That team was 11th
I thought he was a very
in the
good
Big
defender.
Ten in defense.
Was he not elite?
It was
okay.
It was Collins' worst defensive team, second worst.
Matt,
in
no,
5
that
years.
was probably the dumbest award I've ever seen. I think it is egregious and borderline. You're like ignoring basketball to vote him Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's an insane vote. I thought he was still like really good.
It's the media
defensively.
for you, Matt. It's the mainstream media for you.
Yep. Let's get back to JK's last take. Oregon, a 3 seed or better in the big dance. I love the upside on Oregon, Kai. I don't know that Dana Altman can get back there, but if they're healthy, maybe.
I think it's very possible, but I'll sell it. I think 4 or 5, maybe 6 seed is better.
It's too high. Free Dante.
Free Dante. I'll say Oregon wins either the regular season or the tournament in the Big Ten. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, tournament Oregon sounds like a fun
Tournament
little-
Oregon is a different
Yeah.
kind of animal. Yes, as we know.
Yep. All right,
Different
fellas,
kind
can
of
we
duck.
run through the Twitter ones real quick just to make sure we
course.
give love to Twitter as well? Our guy Russ, aka Duke Better, the host of our Jeopardy episode, folks. If you listen to that, he is brilliant. So he says Virginia a top 4 finish in the ACC standings.
Yeah.
Kai, you went even further in the Discord. Virginia wins the ACC. What do you think?
They're just always good in this league. I think top 4 is definitely happening.
Matt?
Yeah, I think I have them like close to top 4. It's still Virginia. As much as I hate being like high on Virginia, Wisconsin, like that's gonna be 2 stupid, unfun battles to go to war with this year. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's very likely.
Those 2 teams are the most boring ace to make in the offseason. You're like, well,
Yeah.
I know the players aren't that good. I don't know what to tell you.
I so dispassionately argued for both of them. It's like, you're probably all right. Every point you're making is accurate. I have no response. That was perfect.
Also, his surprise team to miss the tournament was Miami, Florida. I think they have more depth than last year, and so they're a little less vulnerable to the collapse that they had. So I'd be surprised here, Kai. You kind of said maybe.
I bet it's like 50-50. I'd put their tournament. Maybe 60-40. Yeah.
I would agree. I think it's a coin flip.
All right, 3 quick from Sam Bourne. Houston is the best team in the country.
Yes.
Yes.
Not
All right,
hot.
we're doing a countdown. You have to build up tension there. How
Not a
dare you.
hot take. In fact, I might have them like significantly number 1.
Yeah, the team's crazy. I know they look different without Shed last year, but they have a whole offseason with Uzan, and they get Arsenault back and Tugler back. Defense is going to be number 1 in the country. Kai, agree?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Texas Tech, a top 10 team. Now, this is a little hotter, Matthew. Grant McCaslin, can he get them up there?
Yeah, he can, but he won't. So it's a good Hail Mary take. I'm not as enthused by this. I'm not as enthused to take a Hail Mary bet on this one.
They're the kind of like, I think the defense could be good enough, and they've gotten crazy enough amount of shooting. And last year, if you ask anybody, like Pop Isaacs was the most inefficient high usage guy in Power Conference. So maybe there's enough kind of good factors going for them. I won't utterly discard it. And then Sebastian Mack, first team all conference at UCLA in the Big Ten. Boy, I instinctively said no, Kai, but there's not a lot of like holy crap players in the Big Ten, so he could get there.
I think it's a fair take. He could definitely get there. I'd probably no. Just thinking like, I mean, Braden Smith's a pretty big lock, I think, for first team all conference at guard right now. I know they probably the voters will
So is
always
Jackson
go.
Shellstad, my guy.
Yeah, I'd take him over Mac too, but Mac could get there. I think UCLA is gonna be really good.
Yep. And Matt, do you like Dylan Andrews better than Mac?
I don't know which one's which, Jim. That's the problem. So I can't answer this question because I literally don't know which one's which.
This is a great one from Cuz Lightyear, aka Scott T. Schaaf. UNC has another WTF year, misses the NCAA tournament, loses in round 1 of the ACC tournament. Now, this sounds crazy to you folks, but remember what happened 2 years ago when they were preseason number 1. He says at the end, Hubert steps down in a sort of behind the scenes kind firing. They launch a national search. Kenny Smith is interested off the set of Inside the NBA. Kai, this is a heck of a take.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him missing the tournament again for sure. I don't think they're definitely not better than last year, and they have some weaknesses. So I love the take. Hot take. Love it.
This is hot, Matthew. There's downside risk. That front court is shaky.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take like an RJ Davis gets injured or an RJ Davis gets caught in a trance with I don't know, some NIL distraction or
maybe he and Elliot
a lady distraction
hooking
of
up with
sorts.
the same girl or something.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Right.
Same
That would
girl.
then be the
Same girl.
Yeah, that's a totally made up
yeah.
theoretical UNC conversation that's never happened before. So
No,
don't worry
no.
about it, folks. No, I love the boldness of that. That's a fantastic take. From Nick C from VU Wildcat, Villanova makes the NCAA tournament. That's his hot take, just because it's so unpopular among pundits. I don't mind this. We had them in our honorable mention for our top 50, and people kind of laughed at us, Kai. I think the needle has moved so far on
Yep.
making fun of Neptune that they're kind of ignoring that the roster is okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gone way too far. You've seen the takes about them finishing behind DePaul and Georgetown. Not going to happen. No.
Yeah, we had a couple late comers on the takes that said that, and I would that would be the most fireable offense. I
Yes,
can't
it
believe
would.
they could get there.
He'd be
but
gone in like a heartbeat, but yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
might
think
not
it'll
even
happen.
finish the year kind of thing. But TCU related one from Jay Watner. Noah Reynolds, Trezarian White, Ernest Uday, all on the Big 12, and TCU makes its first Sweet 16 ever. Matthew, I did not know they had never made a second weekend.
Yeah,
This
it's
seems
surprising.
plausible.
I don't think I knew that either, actually. I don't like TCU. It's bold. I certainly think it's bold. I just don't love the team that much this year.
Yeah, I'm going 0 for 3 on that all conference. No way.
I'm going to hand up TCU is a team that after our top 50 voting, I would vote them lower now.
That's what
I was kind of our high guy, and I'm nervous about it. I am nervous about TCU. From Jacob Quarter 2, Graham EK wins the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award for the best center in the country. Thinks this is the third Final Four for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Kai, I'm in. Gonzaga rocks. I think they're a top 2 team.
Yep, they're getting ignored. Everyone got tired of Gonzaga. We're not going to talk about them anymore. They're back. He's back.
They didn't get like a commitment in July that
Yes.
got everybody super hyped. So, Matt, what do you think? Is this too much?
No, I think it's very reasonable.
What about
I-
EK winning best center?
I want
Is he gonna beat
EK
Kalkbrenner and Broom. Is that too much?
and Hunter. How about a Hunter
Hunter.
revenge for Kai?
Hunter.
Everyone thinks Hunter Dickinson is terrible at basketball.
Yeah,
just
I know.
watch
That's
that.
another needle mover. It's like
It's like,
the guy's like
eh.
a 2 or 3 time All-American. Like, let's relax a little bit.
Yeah, he has his flaws, but it's he's been around so long that people focus on the flaws instead of the
Yeah, like his podcasting, horrible.
You're an instant 2010 guy with a top 20 offense. Like, all right, yeah, you're pretty good. And the final take from Connor, Seaball's VCU. VCU will have the highest 3-point percentage among the top 8 conferences. This includes all your Power Fives,
Wow.
A10, Mountain West, and American. Boy, they've got some shooters. You got Shulga, you got Bamisil, you got Zeb Jackson. Kai, is this too far? This is a hot take. This is a bold plant your flag.
Zeb Jackson's a horrible shooter. Just going to put that out there.
Well, he's on the team.
They were
Not
100th.
bad.
They were 100th last year. This is not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I don't get this at all.
Yeah,
He's-
it's
yeah.
weird. They had basically the same team last year, and they were 100th. So I don't think it's happening.
He
Oh, the
was
Fats Billup
38%
kid
from
can
corner
shoot it,
to
but he barely
corner
played
corner.
last year.
They were better in conference play, to his point, but no way.
Yeah, when Bamisil came along, they got a little better.
What does this
But-
guy know that I don't know? Is he
Well,
is
think
he
about it,
behind
Matt.
the scenes working on the footwork and the release?
I hope it
Maybe he
happens.
sees
Though.
something we
It
don't. I
looked
hope he
pretty.
does
It
too.
looked pretty silly. That's a great
Ryan
take.
Odom's teams in
It'd
history.
be the best take in our entire podcast history if you predicted the number 1 overall 3-point shooting team for an entire season.
100th
and it was
last year.
VCU.
15th at Utah State in his
Okay.
second year.
Okay.
So it would be in the vicinity of then 143rd, 152nd, 318th, 307th, then 40th and 31st. So
Okay.
he's been up and down. I think it would have been, you need to add like a Kobe Bryant 50% to get there on this
Yeah.
team. But I love the take. Love the boldness. I also like VCU, top 50 team for me.
Does Ryan Odom get too much credit?
No, stop it. I
No.
knew you were going to go there.
Okay,
I don't think
no.
so.
Okay.
Wow. Kai's like, he can't even beat Mizzou in a
It's
tournament
two,
game.
I'm just
two
looking-
guards that
I'm
were
just
like
looking at
ineligible
result-
to start the year last year, and like they had a bunch of injuries. I think that was actually a very
No.
thrown
I'm
some
just
curveballs
saying
last
for his
year.
entire coaching performance. I think if he doesn't win that game in the first round against Virginia, he never gets the Utah State job and never gets here to this point.
I agree with that, but I think I'm glad he did that because I think he was deserving of a higher level job, which I think he proved he was.
Not
worthy
saying
of.
that. Not saying that, but we've seen
no,
now
that's
Utah State it's good no matter what. It seems
Right,
like
doesn't matter who coaches it. Yeah, right, fair.
So I don't know.
Or they just hire really good coaches, and
They do.
it doesn't
They do hire
mean
good.
he's.
I think he's a good
so-
coach for the record. I was just surprised that he hasn't done as much as I thought he. had.
It's fair. I
Right.
think there's a slight misalignment in praise that we give him and true results. I guess.
Mini rebuttal. He didn't get the Utah State job immediately after the upset They were like, all right,
No,
let's see a little more from you.
Right.
The 5-year Ken Palm ranking before he took over: 342, 308, 323, 343, 334.
UMBC.
Really bad, UMBC.
Yeah.
And then he had them like inside the top 250 every year. And then after 240, 252, 274 with Jim Ferry, not great. Everybody wins at Utah State, apparently. So shout out to Utah State, the best hiring of coaches in the country, the administration. They're
Yes.
unbelievable. But I'm on board. I'm on board with Odom. I think he has a big year. Anything else, fellas? I think we got through all the hot takes. Sorry if we missed yours. It was unintentional, just oversight trying to track all the info.
Did Matt have one before we go? I don't want to belabor.
Yes, I did. San Diego State misses the tournament.
That's bold.
Maryland
We ranked
wins
him
the
50th.
Maryland wins the Big Ten.
That's
No way.
UNLV wins the Mountain West.
I'll say
not-
no, but not impossible.
I'm not going to call that criminal. I just want to get what you voted Maryland in our top 50.
Jim,
You voted them
Jim,
45th.
well, the second best team's like 41st. So, because the Big Ten, everyone's from 30 to 48, basically. That's what everyone's ranked. So
You ranked
have to
Indiana and
pick
Purdue
one.
15th and 16th.
Yeah, it's a bold take, Jim. This is a bold take. It's
Okay,
bold
all right,
predictions.
all right.
Bold
You
It's
don't
safe
mean
space.
it. You don't
Just
mean
saying.
it. You don't mean it.
Remember, was it 2 years ago that Matt was like, bet Maryland 20-1, and they started hot, and then they were like awful in Big Ten play.
Yeah, I ran out of steam.
Yeah.
I love
Wow.
the fact that Derek Queen and Julian Reese were like teammates in high school. It's kind of sweet. That, like your front
How do you
court were like
How do you feel about Robbie Avila and AJ Casey being teammates?
that's
in
kind
high
of cool
school?
too. I like any reunions of like high school teammates. I think is a good narrative. In on that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bury you there, Matt. I just you caught me
No,
off
it's
guard. with
fine.
how
Thanks for
bold
the
it was.
takes,
It was.
Matt.
I would say
Thanks
it
for
was a
the
9
takes.
out of 10.
Sure.
It was a 9 out of 10 in hotness.
I got thick skin, and I'm always right, so it doesn't really matter. My results
True.
speak for themselves on both
True.
predictions.
All right, that is it. As I promised you folks, I'm back on the pod, so that means we went long and I belabor points. My apologies. We don't have any reviews this week, so if you feel like leaving one, do that next week, and we'll get to them at the end. We're almost to preview season. We are oh so close. But again, join the burner. We've got great AMAs coming up. Tom Crean, Eric Reynolds, Brian Wardle, lots of good info in there. Join that. Thank you for tuning in. Cheers. We'll see you next week.